that ending breast cancer needs all of us working together. Because if you've just been diagnosed and don't know where to turn, we've got you. If you can't afford the treatment you need, we've got you. And if you are driven to honor the loved one you've just lost, we have a place for you here. Because of you, we're supporting those who need help today while tirelessly searching for tomorrow's cures. Visit Komen.org and be a part of our Susan G. Komen community today.
You're listening to the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000 or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Oh, man. I'm only going to be here in the state of Oklahoma for like another 3 hours.
Oh, you're taking the trip down to Dallas a little bit earlier in the day?
The road trip begins in like 90 minutes.
Oh, okay.
See, we got to get to Dallas early, Jesse Crittenden and me. Skeleton crew this week, just he and I, going to Columbia, South Carolina. But we got to get to Dallas early because we got to go to bed early, because we got to wake up stupid early. It's probably going to be a 3 a.m. alarm because our flight leaves at 5 a.m. tomorrow.
Damn.
Yeah. So, by the time we're doing the show tomorrow, by the time I'm doing the show from wherever I'm at in the Charlotte area tomorrow, I will have already been awake for nearly 12 hours. My brain is going to be listing at that point.
Now, where are you staying? Like,
staying in Rock Hill, South Carolina.
No. Tonight is what I meant. How close to the airport are you staying?
Oh, not very far, 10, 15 minutes.
Okay, there you go.
So, yeah. But yes, when we get to South Carolina, we're staying in the town of Rock Hill, which is down south of Charlotte, just across the border. And I'm going to go watch a 5-star cornerback in the 2027 class on Friday night. Oklahoma has offered and is pursuing and recently hosted 5-star cornerback Josh Dobson out of Fort Mill, South Carolina, Catawba Ridge High School. Now, the usual suspects are all involved in his recruitment, and talking to one particularly well-placed source on the Oklahoma side earlier this week, I mean, there's an understanding that the price point for that guy is going to be huge. He's got Texas Tech in his top 10. Right? Like, when you see Texas Tech in the top group for a kid, a 5-star cornerback from South Carolina, you pretty well understand what the pulse is, right?
Okay, at what point, I will say this, at what point do we have to say Texas Tech is the 9th-ranked team in the country, so that's having something to do with it?
They've been the 9th-ranked team in the country before. They've been higher than that before.
Okay, this is a fair point.
And they've never recruited 5-star talent
Look,
before.
okay, I got it.
Yes, the news earlier today is that LaDainian Guyton, the 5-star edge rusher and former number 1 overall prospect in the 2027 class. I say former because he's reclassifying in 2026. So there is the potential that he signs with the Red Raiders within the next couple of months. So Tech has got it cooking, man. They've got money. They are deploying it.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
If you got it, use it, man.
They have the resources. They are putting them to good use. There's absolutely no question about that. 5-Star Shark says, hopefully see you in Columbia, flying into Charlotte tomorrow as well. Yeah, Shark, you and I and Dari will all go grab a beer tomorrow night. I won't be drinking beer. I'll settle for ginger ale or something like that.
You going to kick it with Dari this weekend?
I need to reach out to him. I need to holler at him. I guess the issue is I'm probably not going to have a lot of margin this weekend now that I think about it. It's going to be get done with the show tomorrow, ship out to go see Josh Dobson, get up early Saturday morning, drive to Columbia, cover the game, come back to the hotel, write about the game and podcast about the game for hours and hours and hours on end. then wake up early on Sunday morning and get home. So probably not going to have a whole lot of time to just kick back, even though I would like to. Dari and I had a good time kicking it in OKC when he was here for the Women's College World Series in June. And come to find out, this is kind of wild. I just pieced this together literally about a week or so ago. I was out in OKC with Dari and my dad's old college RA, who at the time I had no idea he was his college RA. Because what I hadn't put together yet, and what I didn't put together for several months thereafter, is that Dari and my dad were floor mates.
What?
Yes. Academic year 94-95, they both lived on Walker 9 at the University of Oklahoma.
Is that right?
What a small world it is.
Now, I will say, if there's some people in the world that I definitely don't want to see again, it's my college RAs.
Really? Did you
No.
have bad RA experiences?
I mean, I was
an RA for a year.
Were you really?
Yeah.
See, I was on housing probation the second semester of my freshman year.
What did you do?
Me and my buddies coming back from Christmas break our freshman year kind of, threw a rager in the dorms.
Threw a rager in the dorms.
And got caught.
Okay.
That did happen.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Yeah.
I was a cool RA, man.
Were you really?
Yes.
See, we thought we had the cool RAs, but they were off that night. So we got the RAs that weren't cool.
My RA as a freshman was, I think he was a bio student. Never saw him. Hardly ever saw him. He was like 6'6". He was super tall, but really never saw him. Then I was an RA my sophomore year. Never issued a single citation.
Really?
That entire year. Not
Good for
a
you.
single one.
Good for you.
I was chill, dang it. A 913 listener says, Parker, no complaining. Respectfully, you have a dream job for most listening. Hey, you're 1,000% correct, and by no means am I complaining. I got a jam-packed schedule this weekend, but I get to cover football for a living.
Yeah.
It is a blast. And I will be quite eager, quite excited to experience a new state. I've never been to the state of South Carolina. That changes this weekend. I've flown through Charlotte many a time. Never spent much time in North Carolina. Have never spent any time in South Carolina. So, get to hit both the Carolinas over the next few days. Should be a fun time. Will obviously be a much more fun time if the Sooners can go get a big road win against the Gamecocks. As we dive into recruiting here, and by the way, if you have questions, feel free to fire them at us at 405-651-3439. Want to remind you that the show is brought to you by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. If you're shopping around for a new vehicle, why not a GMC? And why not Dorsey Jones? GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and Dorsey Jones can offer you fantastic service as well, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So, head out to El Reno, check out Dorsey Jones for your next vehicle.
Before we go to recruiting, JG on the YouTube chat says, Parker being an op is not a shocker.
An op?
An RA.
Oh, okay. Is that what they refer to the RAs as? The ops? I never thought of myself as an op.
You're in the minority, though. Most of the RAs are the ops.
We had 20 RAs in Adams Center because I was an RA in Adams Center, which obviously no longer stands at the University of Oklahoma. But we had 20 RAs. We had maybe like 2 or 3 that were sticklers.
Really?
The rest of us, we kept it low key.
See, the
We were
ones
chill.
the ones at Oklahoma State were not fun. At least where I lived on campus.
It's Stillwater, America for you, folks. As we dive into recruiting, though, we've talked quite a bit about the 2027 picture on the offensive line. And one guy that has been an offer guy for Oklahoma for over a year now, was a very early target in the 27 cycle, and that the program still keeps up with is Brian Swanson, 4-star offensive tackle from South Oak Cliff High School down in Dallas. And my colleague at Rivals, Sam Spiegelman, reported yesterday that it's looking like an OU Texas battle for Brian Swanson. So there you go. You just hope that the Red River Shootout didn't have too many implications in that battle, because they weren't good implications as far as Oklahoma was concerned, if so. But I got to thinking, and I need to do the research. I haven't had the time to do it yet. Maybe y'all can help me. If memory serves me correctly here, South Oak Cliff is the high school at which Emmett Jones was head coach for 3 years in the early 2010s. I do believe he was the head coach at South Oak Cliff. But I can't think offhand of the last South Oak Cliff alumnus that wound up at the University of Oklahoma. There's not necessarily like the same connotation there as there is with DeSoto, where, you know, Oklahoma's just shut out of DeSoto and who knows how long that's going to last. But South Oak Cliff is another one of those big-time traditional Dallas powerhouse programs that Oklahoma hasn't had a ton of success recruiting in recent years. And conversely, Texas has. The guy that picked off John Mateer twice last weekend, Manny Muhammad, South Oak Cliff zone.
Yeah.
And so maybe y'all can help me out. South Oak Cliff, when was the last SOC kid? That's SOC.
Mm-hmm.
SOC, that's what we all call it in the recruiting industry. When was the last time Oklahoma landed a SOC kid? That feels like one of those programs that, especially because you have the program's former head coach on your staff now, you should be able to tap into.
I went back, and I checked on where Ricky Dixon went to high school. I know this is a long way back, because he is from that area. Now, he went to Hutchins High School, which was the first high school my dad actually went to. But my guess was wrong. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell you, because a lot of those kids, and it's curious because now you've got to throw Sock in there, Duncanville and DeSoto. What is it with that area that Oklahoma has problems with in terms of getting kids to come to the school out of there? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, because again, it's a problem that's very unique to Oklahoma in a certain sense because, you know, Baylor gets kids from those schools. SMU gets kids from those schools.
SMU's quarterback is from Sock.
Exactly. TCU gets kids from those schools. Every so often you'll have an Ohio State or an Alabama or an Oregon come grab one of those kids.
Yeah.
But Oklahoma, for the most part, those three schools that I mentioned, South Oak Cliff, DeSoto, Duncanville, they've been shut out for years now, with one exception, and that was Savion Byrd in the class of 2021.
Yep.
It's been, I want to say, a decade plus since Oklahoma landed a kid from any of those programs. The 918 listener says, Jayden Not. Oh, wait, you said sock. I thought you said soft.
Oh, man.
Sooner287 says, Kevin Brent, 2009. Is Kevin Brent a real person? I have no recollection of anyone named Kevin Brent at the University of Oklahoma. But probably have to go back similar to, like a duration of time similar to that, because DeSoto, I know Oklahoma got Brian Jackson. I think that was the class of 2008 maybe, and they got Vontre McQuinney in the class of 2014. Again, Savion Byrd is the only Duncanville Panther. That was class of 2021. South Oak Cliff, there's nobody that springs to mind. You got to go back quite a ways.
Okay. Shout out to this texter in the 803. Prentice McKinney.
Prentice McKinney.
South Oak Cliff High School, played safety. He was on the roster in 2018. Would have been class of 2015.
Prentice McKinney. I don't remember Prentice McKinney.
Well,
what position did he play?
Safety.
A safety named Prentice McKinney. Does not ring a bell. If he was on the roster in 2018, excuse me, I should remember him because basically everybody on the roster that was a healthy body in the year 2018 saw the field.
Now, I will say, in 2017, he only registered 3 total tackles, and he missed the entire 2018 season due to injury.
Okay, there you go. So that's why I don't remember him in 2018. Prentice McKinney. Okay, so yeah, decade plus, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma's got to get that figured out, man. Because it's nice. It's nice to have connections at some of those north side schools. Denton Geyer being a great example, right?
Yeah.
Oklahoma's landed guys from Allen in the past. Kyler Murray comes to mind. Michael Hawkins played 3 years at Allen. E.J. Ndoma Ogar, if you remember him, he did not last at Oklahoma. I think as of last check, he was still playing college football at Arkansas State. He might have wrapped up his career last year, but that was another Allen guy. Theo Weiss played at Allen. Oklahoma made quite a run at Jordan Tyson when he got in the portal. That was an Allen kid. So Oklahoma historically has done pretty well on the north side of Dallas. The south side, not so much. Not so much. And you'd like to be able to tap into both. Because with as much talent as there is in the DFW Metroplex, especially if you're winning games and you have a championship caliber football program, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to attract the talent from the south side of Dallas and be able to, at the very least, stand a chance. And Oklahoma's tried for some South Oak kids in recent years. They tried for Jamarian Phillips, 3-star linebacker, earlier here in the 2025 or 2026 cycle. He wound up at Baylor. Last year, what was the kid's name? Elijah Barnes. He wound up at Texas. I think he was a transfer. I can't remember whether it was Dallas Skyline to South Oak Cliff or South Oak Cliff to Dallas Skyline. But it hasn't necessarily been for lack of effort, man. They've just been unable to close the deal.
Let me pitch this to you, and I need to ask my dad about this to confirm this, because my dad went to Dallas Carter High School, so in that same area. I need to ask him this, but my guess is most of those kids down in the South Dallas area have a parental lean toward Texas. That's going to be my guess. Now, me growing up on the north side of the DFW Metroplex, there are a lot of kids up there that have a parental lead to Oklahoma. I grew up with a lot of them. So that would be my guess as to why you have that sort of contrast between which side of Dallas that these kids are coming from. Again, that's my guess. I'd have to ask people older than me to confirm that. But that, I mean, you look at, you just look at Cedar Hill that's down there in that southern side of Dallas. They're the Longhorns. Their logo is exactly Texas's. So, it really is just in a different color. So, that's going to be what I'm going to lean toward, is that just the people down there have a lean toward other schools. Whereas up there, obviously you're closer to the University of Oklahoma, up in that Allen, Plano, Frisco area, and you've got more parents with leans that they've influenced their kids toward Oklahoma.
Lendy Holmes, good poll by several of you on the text line. Lendy Holmes went to South Oak Cliff. That's 20-plus years ago now. Kind of crazy it's been that long. But, yes, I remember Lendy Holmes. So, by the way, don't trust AI, folks. Don't trust whatever AI summaries Google is generating for you, because one of our listeners said, according to Google, Jayden Jackson played at South Oak Cliff before IMG. That is not even close to true. Jayden Jackson, I think is he from the state of Indiana?
I thought
it's
so.
Indiana or Ohio, like somewhere in the upper Midwest. Jayden Jackson is not from anywhere close to the DFW Metroplex. So please, whatever AI is telling you, please make sure to verify with actual sources of information rather than taking AI's word for it. It's a bot. It does not know fact from fiction.
There is also this from Austin Dave. It might also be that kids from the south side of Dallas have a shorter drive for their families to Austin or Waco, especially Waco.
Yeah, especially Waco. I mean, if you're on the south side, you're an hour and a half from Waco.
Yep.
As opposed to, I mean, especially if you hit any traffic coming up through Dallas, it might be 4 hours to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So, yeah, geography is a real thing as well, certainly. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Stay with us here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Much more OU football and Cruton talk ahead. Keep it right here.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is The Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Purple Wave Auction remains the trusted leader in online equipment auctions. What makes the difference is you. You are part of our growing global community that continues to trust Purple Wave with the equipment that builds and feeds America. This trust placed in us by our community, from construction to ag producers and fleet drivers, brings great equipment opportunities to their next owners. Join the Purple Wave community today. purplewave.com.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation
Or services for the blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
Tired of feeling pressured by salespeople when shopping for auto insurance? At Right Way Insurance, there's no hard sell, just a clear, straightforward approach. We work with multiple insurance companies to give you the best options and rates with no gimmicks. You'll get the right coverage tailored to your needs, all while avoiding hidden fees and confusing policies. So if you're ready for a better experience with auto insurance, visit rightwayinsuranceok.com or call 405-607-6014 for your free quote today. Right Way Insurance, no pressure, just the right insurance for you.
Ready to jumpstart your future? Start training for a high-demand, high-wage career in healthcare, construction, IT, manufacturing, or STEM while you're still in high school. Moore and Norman sophomores, juniors, and seniors apply online today to attend Moore Norman Technology Center next fall. Talk to your MNTC rep at school or visit mntc.edu to learn more. Change your life, build your tomorrow, start your future now at Moore Norman Technology Center.
I'm Oklahoma Sooner quarterback John Mateer. My job is to move the ball down the field and get the Sooners across the goal line. If you've been injured in an auto accident, you need a pro to be the quarterback of your medical care needs. Dr. Martin Lopez and the OKC Car Crash Clinic are your premier teammates to help you on your road to recovery. Dr. Lopez is a specialty trained MD with decades of experience. Make your best play call and contact Dr. Lopez at 405-86-CRASH. That's 405-862-7274 or visit okccrash.com.
For 3 generations, the John M. Ireland & Son Funeral Home and Chapel in Morris continued to serve the community by giving back to local schools, charitable organizations, and first responders.
We provide pre-planning for funerals and cremation services at the most reasonable prices.
We are proud to be a family-owned and operated funeral home.
Award-winning funeral home year after year, our family believes in serving the people of our community.
I'm John Ireland.
And I'm Solon Daniels.
You've got our word on it.
Hi, this is Nettie from The Local, Norman's newest restaurant, and we invite you to come check it out. The Local features delicious Okie cuisine like the famous local salad, mouth-watering bone-in pork chops, or the Okie burger, plus fantastic drink specials throughout the week. You can also enjoy brunch on Sundays starting at 10 a.m. Happy hour all day on college football Saturdays, you can't beat that. We have 3 locations in the metro, Yukon, Mustang, and the newest one in Norman at 110 West Main Street. Or visit thelocalrestaurant.com.
Are pests invading your home? Call Avenge Pest Control now and get your initial pest control service at half price. Avenge Pest Control is a family-owned and operated company, proudly serving the entire Oklahoma City metro area, Enid, Ardmore, and the Durant-Texoma area. They take care of all of our pest control needs here at the Ref, and they offer free termite inspections and comprehensive services. With mice and rat season upon us, don't wait. Protect your home today. Get more info at AvengePestControl.com or call 405-693-2233. Avenge Pest Control.
This is kind of crazy. Per Andy Slater of Fox Sports 640 in South Florida. The Dolphins-Browns game in Cleveland this weekend could have 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. The National Weather Service says this is, and I quote, certainly a system worth keeping an eye on, end quote, as a stronger storm may materialize. The current forecast, 94% chance of rain, 36 mile per hour winds, and 65 degrees. Just as the good Lord intended.
Hell no.
Yes!
Absolutely.
This is football in its purest state.
All right, let me ask you this, Parker.
Get rid of domes. Nuke domes.
First of all, no. If I see that on the forecast and I'm thinking about going to the game, I'm not going to that game.
Why not?
You think I'm gonna pay $200-$300 to sit out in the elements and be miserable?
You're not gonna be miserable. You're watching NFL football
in the 60s with 30-mile-an-hour winds and rain.
Yes, sir.
No,
that's what it's about.
No. Snow games I can get behind, even though I don't like the cold. This type of stuff, no. Like at that point, you can't even enjoy the football.
The only NFL game I have ever attended in person was a 2012 matchup between the New York Jets and the Jacksonville Jaguars, who at the time were both terrible.
I was about to say, we're both awful.
They were awful. The final score of that game was 17-10. I believe the Jets won, if memory serves me correctly. The starting quarterbacks that day were Mark Sanchez and Blaine Gabbert. And it was raining in Jacksonville.
Now, let's just stop and think about this for a second.
It was awesome.
You sat in the rain.
Awesome.
You sat in the rain and watched Blaine Gabbert and butt fumble, and you thought it was awesome.
That, again, football in its purest state right there.
All right.
I had a pulled pork sandwich. I had...
Yeah, your pulled pork sandwich was probably soggy as hell.
I had a turnover fest between Blaine Gabbert and Mark Sanchez in the rain, and it was amazing, dang it. Lincoln Riley wouldn't have been able to stomach that 60 minutes of football, but I sure could. It was old school, baby. Puerto Rican Sooner says, soft. Just got to experience it. Michael and Marlo
Hey, man,
agrees.
I've been to rainy, cold games in Stillwater before.
Jim in Arlington points out, Parker, did you know the Edmund Fitzgerald was trying to get to its destination, which is Cleveland? It was probably winds much worse than what they will experience in Cleveland this weekend. Thus, the motivation for the song that Steelman loves to sing. Yes, trust me, Jim, I know every single word of the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by heart at this point.
When are we going to get Steely to sing it again?
Next year on Gordon Lightfoot's birthday. He won't do it until then. I believe it's actually historically inaccurate, though, that the Edmund Fitzgerald was coming from, and I quote, some mill in Wisconsin. I can't remember where it was coming from, but I don't think it was coming from where Gordon Lightfoot says it was coming in the song. The anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald is next month, so we can save all the research for them.
Jeremy Stevens on the YouTube chat says, LOL, 36-mile-an-hour winds and rain is Wednesday in Oklahoma.
Ain't that the truth? Yeah, it's a Wednesday in March.
Yeah.
Rick and BA says, my first NFL game was when I graduated boot camp in 1987. January playoff game was Chicago Bears versus the Redskins. It was in the 20s that night. Cold.
Why do people Why do people just find this appealing? Because, I watch these Bills games in December and January. Dudes got their shirts off and everything, about to go to the hospital like a few of them did. Y'all just out here in your shirts off in negative-degree weather. What is people? What are we doing?
What is people? I think here's my stance on it. I think something about inclement weather, something about crappy weather, makes the experience that much more memorable, and for that reason, I am willing to stomach it. I kind of unconsciously go through life with some little mechanism in the back of my mind that is kind of auto-tuned to gravitate towards an experience if it's going to be memoir-worthy someday.
Sure.
And so, the coldest I've ever been in my life, it was the first football game I ever attended. First college game I ever attended, I should say. Nebraska, Kansas, 2008. Nebraska won 45-35, and Ndamukong Suh caught a touchdown pass that day. It was miserably cold on that November afternoon in Lincoln, Nebraska. I had hand warmers. I had 3 coats on. I was still chilled to the bone. But that is an experience I will never forget.
I am so glad people on the text liners are saying this because I was not going to. But Man, where was it? Y'all are coming in too hot. 580 Mike Honcho said, white people blank. And that right there is the operative answer.
Okay. That's probably fair. There's probably some truth.
Mike says, it's white people. Grayson won't understand.
Mojo Bo says, the North doesn't have the wind that we do in Oklahoma and Nebraska. I don't know about Nebraska, Mojo, but like Oklahoma's the windiest place I've ever been.
I agree. Same here.
Like the Oklahoma wind, that was the biggest shock for me coming to this state.
A texter in the 405 says, you don't see too many black folk in the stands shirtless at a Bills game in December. No, you will not.
Bills Mafia, they're a little different. They are built different.
Mm-hmm.
Duggan Mustang, not to be confused with Duggan Norman, says, you're not watching an NFL football game. You're watching the Cleveland Browns. Okay. Point taken. At least we get to watch Dylan Gabriel play some football this Sunday.
What'd you think of Dylan Gabriel so far?
He's exactly what I expected he would be.
Yeah.
And Dylan Gabriel as a football player is kind of, like, he's very predictable. He's very predictable. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just you get what you sign up for with the Dylan Gabriel experience.
Like, he's going to be no better than fine. The producer says, confirmed, Grayson can't swim. Believe it or not, I can actually swim.
Good on you. Oh, this show has gone so far off the rails.
405 Taylor, let's bring it back. Parker, any update on Keontez Lewis and his availability this Saturday?
Yes, okay, good question, 405 Taylor. That is a good topic to get us reoriented here. Keontez Lewis may be out multiple weeks. And the reason being is because, and yeah, Grayson just looked at me funny. I understand that look.
And it was confusing when I saw it on the availability report. I was like, what happened to him now?
So here's the deal with Keontez Lewis. What I've been told by several different sources is that essentially there was nothing in the world that was going to keep that guy off the field against Texas.
Oh, no.
He was bound and determined to go play, but he's still dealing with a lot of damage that he incurred from the Temple game and the Kent State game, and he's been running on fumes and adrenaline for a while now. And so it's catching up to him, and he just needs rest and the opportunity to spend some intentional time recovering.
Okay. Let's stop. Let's stop right here for a second, because this could be problematic because of the nature of the injuries that he suffered against Temple and Kent State. So, like, did he actually clear concussion protocol?
Yes.
Okay. So are these new things that we're talking about, or is this residual effects from the hits that he took?
Yeah,
but he's still clear protocol.
Yeah, of course. Like he's physically beaten down.
Got you. Okay.
Like it does not make sense right now for him or for Oklahoma for him to go out there this weekend against South Carolina, because he's not going to be close to 100%. He's not going to be able to be as effective as he needs to be in order to see the field over a now fully healthy Jayden Gibson and Jermichael Carter for Oklahoma. So I would expect Keontez Lewis misses this game. He may miss next week's game against Ole Miss as well. We'll see where things stand long-term beyond that. You have another bye coming in the month of November. I can't recall whether that's November 8th or November 15th that's the open date. But next 3 games, it's a pivotal stretch, right? South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee on the road. And so if you can get Keontez Lewis back to 100%, however long that may take, you're going to want that guy ready to roll for the closing stretch that you're going to endure on the other side in November, because it's every bit as brutal. Missouri, Alabama, LSU. And okay, LSU may not be quite what we expected them to be going into the season, but Missouri is markedly better than we expected them to be, and Alabama may be the best team in the country.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's just curious to me, because the most conspicuous of the injuries has been, got his head taken off at Clemson and, almost got himself, seriously hurt against the brick wall. A texter in the 405 asked about, could we see some Elijah Thomas then?
Yeah, and he's not the only one that asked that on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. I don't know that you see much of Elijah Thomas. With Keontez Lewis out of the picture, I'd expect that Jayden Gibson makes his second consecutive start. I'd expect that Jermichael Carter, Ivan Carrione, and Zion Kearney are the guys in the mix to fill the void in his absence. Elijah Thomas, well, see, like Elijah Thomas isn't an X-receiver. You know, Keontez Lewis, he's a big-bodied dude. He's one of those guys that I think he's 6'2", 6'3", but he's one of those dudes that can climb the ladder and go make plays, and he's a mismatch because of his size in addition to his athleticism. Elijah Thomas is more of a guy that you would deploy at the Z or in the slot, and his time is coming, don't get me wrong. He's been a monster on special teams, but the way I look at it, Grayson, is, and I love Elijah Thomas as much as the next guy, trust me, but I have to look at this through the lens of where is the coaching staff at with their willingness to put Elijah Thomas on the field, regardless of the rationale. And if they weren't willing to put him on the field for the first half of the season, outside of that one garbage time drive against Temple, what makes you think they're going to be willing to put him on the field in the second half of the season when the competition's much stiffer?
No, I agree, and that's a good that's a good train of thought too. I guess the reason would be, obviously everybody wants to see a freshman that has been so hyped up. He's from the state of Oklahoma and whatnot, and it was a hell of a player on the Oklahoma prep scene. Jermichael Carter and Kearney and Carrion, even though they've done some good things in the very, very limited snaps that they've gotten, it hasn't been, something inspiring or to knock your socks off. So I still think that leaves the door open for the wonder of, okay, are we going to see this freshman that we've talked so much about?
I'd love to see Elijah Thomas running some routes out there.
I would too.
Passes. I don't know that it's going to happen at any point this year. I think it might be 2026 that we're introduced officially to the Elijah Thomas experience. Big Wing says, is Thomas a bust? I assume that's a tongue-in-cheek text. That will be a serious take from someone on the message boards by the end of the season, though. Well, Elijah Thomas must suck if all we heard all offseason was he's going to be really, really good, but then he couldn't even get on the field. No, Oklahoma's got a really deep wide receiver room right now. And we'll see what kind of turnover there is this coming offseason in that room. And we've discussed the reality that there's likely going to be 4 or 5 outbound transfers at least. And so Elijah Thomas is a guy that just depending on how things shake out heading into 2026, he could start. He could start next year. He absolutely could. There's a world in which that happens. But as far as 2025 is concerned, probably not seeing a ton of him the rest of the way.
A text on the 214 says, has EPL made enough improvement to challenge for a starting spot?
Right now, he would play guard if he was going to play. And Heath Ozida and Febechi Wiwu have not. I mean, look, has Oklahoma's offensive line played great? No, they haven't. And Febechi in particular has had some struggles. But EPL spent much of his practice time in the month of August during fall camp at left guard, battling Heath Ozida for that left guard spot. And I'll give Heath Ozida credit. To this point, he has not been a liability for Oklahoma.
No.
Has he been spectacular all the time? No, nobody on that offensive line has. But Heath Ozida, you can make an argument he's been the most consistent guy up front for Oklahoma through the first half of the season. So there doesn't appear to be a window barring injury for EPL the rest of the way, at least not at left guard. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. More of your texts, more OU football and recruiting. Keep it here on the Ref. The home of Sooner fans will be right back as the show rolls on.
The Ref Radio Sports Network is powered statewide by the insurance adjusters at Brown O'Haver. Fire, wind, theft, or tornado, we can help. Call 405-735-5510.
At Armstrong Bank, your business isn't just business to us, it's personal. Our bankers are invested in your success, and we're ready to build a relationship that lasts. You deserve a strong financial partner by your side. Together, we can help make your business even stronger with products and services designed for your convenience. To learn more, visit a location near you or visit armstrong.bank. Armstrong Bank, strength runs in our family. Member FDIC.
Hi, Teddy Lehman here for Titan Title and Closing. And when I played for OU, I knew I could trust my teammates. And when you're making the biggest decision of your life, like selling or buying your home, you want a team you can trust. That's why you can call my teammate, Devry.
Thanks, Teddy. As one of the partners here in Norman at Titan Title and Closing, I know a thing or two about Norman. I've raised my children here, and I've been in the real estate industry for over 25 years. We work with over 25 entities that are involved in each transaction, and our team plays on both sides of the transaction to achieve a win for our realtors, lenders, builders, sellers, and buyers. When you sell your property, be sure to ask your agent to close with Titan Title and Closing here in Norman. You can contact us today at 405-689-8617. Again, that's 405-689-8617.
Did the recent storms damage your home and roof? Call All American Roofing today. All American Roofing has been repairing and replacing roofs for over 40 years and is a second-generation locally owned roofing company. They are also a Google guaranteed contractor and offer free inspections. Our roofers are GAF Master Elite contractors with a BBB A+ rating. Call All American Roofing today at 405-787-0400. All American Roofing, the best roofing company in Oklahoma. 405-787-0400.
It's spooky season here at Riverwind Casino.
And the monster jackpots are taking over.
Experience all thrills and chills on brand new electronic games. Celebrate in style as a VIP in a private suite in our Showplace Theater.
Game like an MVP when you play with your wild card.
Drop in every Friday in October to win your share of our $100,000 Creepin' for Cash giveaway.
So keep the good times rolling at your favorite haunt.
And we'll see you at Riverwind Casino.
Josh Helmer here, co-host of the Yarinoka Show and part of your Sooner Game Day coverage here at the Ref. Catch us every Sooner Game Day as we take a deep dive into the Sooners matchup for the week, leading up to and after the game. Whether the Sooners are playing at the Palace or anywhere across the country, there's no better way to listen than by tuning in on the KREF app. Apple or Android, it doesn't matter. Just search for KREF in your app store and never miss a second of the Ref's Game Day coverage. That's the KREF app to take the home of Sooner fans anywhere you go in the world.
Hey Norman, are you looking for a new Kia? At Sooner Kia of Norman, you can save up to $6,000 or 0% financing on a brand new Kia. Need service? Full synthetic oil changes or alignments are just $69. November 1st, they're hosting the City of Norman Animal Welfare Mobile Pet Adoption. Stop by and meet their new GM. He might be from California, but he's all Okie. Grab a deal you cannot afford to miss. Sooner Kia, 418 North Interstate Drive in Norman. Better deals, better service, better get here now.
You might know that State Farm agent Cindy Nasher has great service. Cindy is your good neighbor after all. But did you know that State Farm has surprisingly great rates too? Yep, that's right. Along with good neighbor service, State Farm agent Cindy Nasher has surprisingly great rates for everyone in Norman. So call State Farm agent Cindy Nasher at 405-307-0500 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
Final segment of Locked In on this fine Thursday, leading into OU South Carolina this weekend. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton in the Buffalo Wild Wings studios. 405-651-3439 is how you touch base with us on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And as reported by the man himself, four-star 2027 quarterback Dane Weber. Dane Weber from Temecula, California, Chaparral High School, is going to be visiting Oklahoma unofficially on November 22nd. That is Oklahoma, Missouri. So there you go. That's one quarterback that's at the very least on the radar for OU. He has not announced an offer. It does not, well, at least publicly, there have been no offers extended to any quarterbacks in the 2027 class in the aftermath of Peyton Houston choosing LSU over Oklahoma last month. So, as I mentioned yesterday, OU's standpoint when it comes to recruiting their next guy at quarterback in 27 was, we're going to do this right. We're not going to do this fast. We're going to be intentional with our evaluations. We're not going to make any snap decisions. We got a few guys we're going to monitor, and we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm just letting you know, Dane Weber is probably not the only quarterback that's going in the 27 class, that is, that's going to take a visit to the University of Oklahoma at some point this fall. I would think that the Sooners are going to get numerous signal callers on campus if possible. Now, that may be more difficult because they have, well, what is it? Ole Miss is an 11 a.m. kickoff. Missouri's an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
I guess, do we know about LSU yet? I don't think we know on that game. But 11 a.m. kicks make things very, very difficult for out-of-state players in particular to get up and take visits. So that may be an inhibitor.
The LSU game is either going to be in that 3:30, 4:30 slot or 6 to 8:30.
Okay, there we go. So for sure not an 11 a.m. kickoff.
No, it is not.
LSU.
No, it is not an early kick for LSU.
Good. I will take that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of the things. Oklahoma's fortunate that they got Reggie Powers a couple years ago because it took an act of Congress to get Reggie Powers on campus for an official visit, and not because he didn't want to. It was just the logistics. Like, they offered in late September, right before he decommitted from Michigan State. He didn't have a lot of time to figure things out before signing day in December. And his high school schedule, keep in mind, he played high school ball just outside of Dayton, Ohio. He was playing every Friday night. That was in 2023 when Oklahoma was still in the Big 12. Almost every single home kick that year was an 11 a.m. kick. So he and his folks, one night, they slept for about 3 hours, got on an early morning flight down for the official visit, and Powers saw all he needed to see and committed to Oklahoma. But that's just one example of how difficult it can be for out-of-state kids to get to campus sometimes if they don't have one of those random Thursday night high school games on their schedule that enables them to get on the road a little bit earlier Friday. But anybody outside state lines that's playing on Friday night is going to have a hard time making it to campus for an 11 a.m. Saturday kick.
Slim Brady says the LSU game is on a holiday weekend, though.
That's right. Yes, Thanksgiving weekend.
Yeah.
At least we get to spend Thanksgiving weekend in God's country this year instead of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
You don't like Baton Rouge, do you?
I really don't like Louisiana. They had good food. I'll give them that. Cajun food?
Really good food.
I'd throw down on some Cajun food. If there's Cajun food on the menu, I will be there no matter what. But
even if it's in Shreveport.
Even if it's in Shreveport. But that's the only reason. That's the only reason. 918 Lance, good question. I mean, this is a question that gets asked a lot. I understand we got folks that are tuning in for the first time or folks that don't follow recruiting terribly closely that want to know what's the difference between an official and an unofficial visit. An official visit is funded by the school.
Yep.
All of the expenses are covered by the institution. An unofficial visit is on your own dime. And official visits can't happen until a kid's a rising senior. So official visits generally happen, what would that be, tail end of kid's junior year, spring into summer of his junior going on into senior year. And then in some guys' cases, this is the case for a guy like Daniel McMorris. He's already playing his senior season. He's got to sign somewhere in December, a couple months from now. And so he's still taking official visits down the stretch here as he tries to nail down where he's going to play his college football. And I expect that to be the University of Oklahoma. I think we all expect that.
4-star Brian in Bixby asks, what does Parker's milquetoast palate know about Cajun food?
Okay, first off, Brian, if you're going to use the word milquetoast, spell it right, okay? Secondly, I have the farthest thing from a milquetoast palate.
I can back him up on this.
Make no mistake about it. My mama could cook. That's what she was good at. We were not eating bland food growing up. And trust me, having been raised in that discipline, when I make food, it gets properly seasoned.
I can attest to this.
Yes, you can. What do we have when you were over for the Super Bowl party?
You did a bunch of wings.
Yeah, a bunch of wings. Did I do anything else?
Did you do anything? I feel like you did, and I just can't recall.
Brandon Bixby says, Parker, I'm driving all the time. It's always voice to text. Okay, that makes more sense. But yes, I do like me a little bit of seasoning, a lot of bit of seasoning, actually. And I love me some Cajun food as well. Soon RX with an interesting question. What are the chances that Bill Bedenbaugh's coaching style is now falling on deaf ears the way Mike Stoops did? And this is a theory that's been floated, Grayson. Bill Bedenbaugh had his day. The game has passed him by in some people's minds. Much the same way that Mike Stoops had his day. There was a time Mike Stoops was really good at his job, really effective as a defensive play caller. But by 2018, that defense was a sieve. Swiss cheese, especially in the secondary. And Oklahoma had to make a change. And so, do I think we're there with Bill Bedenbaugh? No, I do not. I understand, some people they'll hit the text line and be like, why can't you just say Bill Bedenbaugh should be fired? Because I don't believe he should be fired. Not yet, anyway. To me, here's what I want to see. I want to see what happens this offseason when Bill Bedenbaugh gets the chance to really hone in on a starting five for next year that you would assume, Grayson, includes Michael Fasusi at left tackle, Ryan Foje at right guard, and either Logan Howland or Isaiah Autry-Dent at right tackle. Those are some of the better athletes that Oklahoma has had on the offensive line, in Bill Bedenbaugh's entire tenure.
Yeah.
So if it's not working with those guys up front, then okay, experiment over. Like, you got to move on.
Well, I wouldn't say experiment. I mean, it's been a very good tenure.
Yes, it has.
Yeah, but the next iteration of this offensive line, be it 2026 or if you want to extend it to 2027 because of recruiting implications, okay, I can hear that. But however long you want to determine that the next iteration is going to be, that will be his last if the offensive line play does not improve.
Mm-hmm. And to Bedenbaugh's credit, you look back at the early 2020s in particular, the Sooners were getting by with some – well, okay, they had Anton Harrison. Anton Harrison was really, really, really good. They kind of had a bunch of ho-hum prospects starting on the offensive line. Like, Tyrese Robinson wasn't a draft pick. He was a 3-year starter. Andrew Raym wasn't a draft pick. He was a 3-year starter. Chris Murray wasn't close to being a draft pick. McCade Metoyer as well. But those guys played good ball for Oklahoma. 405 listener says, I always find it interesting when fans question who is and isn't playing like they know more than the coaches. Coaches are seeing the players in practice. And, yeah, look, coaches don't always make the right decisions. Right? They don't. And when you learn after the fact, when you find out after the fact that they very obviously made the wrong personnel decision with so-and-so, then naturally that sows seeds of doubt, and then fans are more inclined to question certain decisions that are made in the future.
Yeah.
But the overall sentiment is correct. Like, way more often than not, the coaching staff is going to know who's capable of giving them the best chance to win. And ultimately, man, their livelihoods depend upon it. Why would they send a guy out there? Why would they trot a guy out there with the starting 11 if they didn't feel like that individual gave the team the best chance to win the football game? Because if Oklahoma doesn't win football games, all those coaches are out of a job.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know not everybody conceptualizes it along these lines, but if we're just keeping it a buck, those coaches have a lot more riding on the outcome of Oklahoma football games than the fan base does.
3-star Glenn in Nashville says, I had this argument with a good friend. He says the game has passed Bedenbaugh by, and while I'm not a Bedenbaugh fan, I don't know how the game passes by an offensive line coach. A coordinator, yes. A position coach, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all see the same thing with this Oklahoma offensive line in 2025, though. They're not nasty. They're
Papa
not mean. They're not aggressive.
Boganowski said they needed some nasty up front. He also added no Diddy.
Thank you for tacking that on, Papa Boganowski, in case that wasn't clear. But yeah, I mean, where does that lack of nastiness originate? Like, who do you point the finger at? I mean, you can only really point it at Bill Bedenbaugh, right? And so, I'm one of those where I want to give him the opportunity. I want to give him the leeway to prove that isn't going to become a recurring theme with his unit. Because I frankly don't want to hear about 2024. I don't. Everybody was hurt up front.
Yep.
And it was a constant shuffle, constantly mixed bag trying to figure out what could even theoretically work up front. So what happened in 2024 has no bearing on what's happened here in 2025. In 2025, we've seen the offensive line play one really good game against Michigan and 5 very lackluster games against the other opponents. So, let's see what the second half of the season brings. And we can evaluate Bedenbaugh's standing at season's end. 405-651-3039 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. Please continue feeding your feedback to Tyler McComas and Teddy Lehman because they're about to take over. Grayson and I are done here on this Thursday. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place here for Locked In. The Rush is next. Keep it here.